So, Veola, we wrapping it up, and now we're down. Time flies.
I know,
we
right? When you have fun. I know, right? I guess we got stuff to do. Huh?
Yes,
okay.
yes. So, what we're going to do, the last part of it is how do you negotiate the healthcare system? Healthcare has gotten so different since I was a little girl. Guess what? Growing up in the country, when you saw your doctor, the doctor would come and spend Sunday afternoon with you and eat dinner after church. And a lot of time my grandmother would pay the doctor with a sweet potato pie, and that was the payment in full. Fast forward to today. We've got co-pays. We got things called prior approvals where you can't get a test done unless it's been approved by the insurance company. My, have things changed from the party line on the phone and even in healthcare to today. So what we're going to talk about is just some basics, and it won't just be all detail, but just some things that you need to look out for when you go to the doctor. And the first thing you want to think about when at your age, what are the things that you need based on your age? Like the things that a teenager would need is not the same thing that a 90-year-old would need. Right. So even when you pick your insurance company, you got to pick a company that will address the things that's going on with you.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying it needs to be relevant to you
right
now.
Right. See, a teenager may not need a whole lot. They want to stay updated on their immunizations. Mm-hmm. If they're sexually active, they got to make sure that they're seeing a GYN physician, that they're basically healthy. You don't have to do all the things that we would do once you get a certain age. And in fact, talking about aging, a lot of the things that we used to do in healthcare that we reserved for getting older, we're doing it now, because guess what? Right. We're diagnosing 12-year-olds with what we call type 2 diabetes, which used to be, we called it the old folks diabetes, the diabetes you got when you were older. We see young people with type 2 diabetes, two types, type 1 and type 2. Type 1, you're born without insulin, and that's juvenile type, we used to say back in my day in medical school. But now you seeing these 12-year-olds, and I had one lady tell me, she said, Dr. Walker, I'm keeping my 12-year-old granddaughter, and she goes in the basement and eat a whole pack of Oreo cookies every night. And I asked her, well, who buying the cookies? I said, the 12-year-old don't have a job, so that means you enabling her to go and get these cookies. So even though she's 12 years old, she's got to start seeing the pediatrician more often because they diagnosed her with diabetes, just a regular old folks diabetes. So we're seeing things younger. Yes. So the colon test, we used to say 50, now we're saying 45. So the first thing you want to do as a person, you got to look at yourself, assess your health, and then determine, like Veola said earlier, what are the goals for your life? What do you want to look like 100 years from now, 131 years from now, like my book say. And then you've got to pick a provider based on that. And the way you pick your provider is primary care. Everybody always tell you need a primary care doctor, and let the primary care direct the ship from that point on. Right. Don't just start jumping from doctor to doctor like, oh, I have a headache, I think I need the neurologist. How you know you need a headache? You may have a headache because you're hungry and you need a sandwich. Right. You don't need the neurologist. And also, you need to first always begin, wouldn't you agree, with your primary doctor?
Yeah, definitely. That's and not only a primary care doctor, sometimes they call it a home doctor, because that's someone that know you, they know your medical history, they know your challenges and conditions, so they're better able to help to navigate you through the medical system of what's best. And what I have found is when you have a primary care doctor, it can take so much off of you trying to figure all this stuff out.
Right.
And because they already know, they have relationships with other doctors and specialists that they can just make a phone call and you're in. You call that same doctor, you may be 3 to 6 months before you can get in to see the doctor.
Absolutely.
So there's so many benefits of having a home doctor, but the most thing I would say that is somebody that know your medical history better than anyone else, and they can advocate for you. So
Absolutely.
That's what I would say important of having a primary care doctor.
Right, because a lot of times if you start what we call doctor bouncing from doctor to doctor, this doctor may prescribe you one medicine, this doctor may prescribe you another one, and guess what? Medicines interact with each other because they are chemicals.
Yes.
So you taking this doctor's medicine and you're taking this doctor's medicine, all these chemicals are getting together down in your stomach, and they all mixing together. Now you got a big pill down there that you and I don't know what it is because all these chemicals are mixed together. together. What a primary care doctor does, I review all the records from every doctor you see. I look at any medications they start you on, and sometimes we have to adjust them and say, did you tell this doctor that you were taking this from this doctor? No, I didn't mention it. I said, well, see, now you got duplicate medication.
Exactly.
You taking ibuprofen and Anaprox, which is medicines. You don't have to take all those things together. So always let your primary care doctor direct the ship, and you follow lead, meaning go see the doctor. We're not saying you won't see specialists. What we're saying is just don't self-diagnose. Don't be Dr. Google. And most of y'all are Dr. Google now. That's all we're dealing with now is Dr. Google. And then go and make your appointment, and then the doctor say, I'm not the doctor for you. You need to go see my friend down the hall. You go see the friend down the hall, and they tell you the same thing. I'm not the doctor for you. So the first thing you want to do to navigate the system is find yourself a doctor that you trust and that you like. Because so often you don't like the doctor you pick a lot of times, and then you just stop going. Don't do that. Nice. Just search around until you find a doctor that you feel comfortable with. And patients feel comfortable with doctors when they see their own self in the doctor.
Yeah, so that's very important. It was a good thing. Somebody that you like, admire, and trust.
Right.
Because if you don't trust them, you're not going to open up and share the information. And don't be trying to fool the doctor, because they're there to help you. Right. So don't lie to the doctor and not tell the truth. When they ask a question, be honest with them, because they're there to help you. Because again, you tie their hand from being able to better serve you when you don't give them all the information. Absolutely. So I would, that's just my observation with talking to people, and I've coached thousands. I mean, when I say thousands, I'm talking about thousands of people. And sometimes I said, did you share that information with your doctor? No, he didn't listen to me. Well, if the doctor's not listening to you, maybe that's not the doctor for you.
Right, and don't be scared. We're not advocating everybody to go switch doctors. No. But if you're thinking your doctor's not listening to you, or you're not getting along, or you're not doing anything the doctor say, you're actually wasting the doctor's time too, because they're seeing you back thinking you're better when you go home and you didn't even get the prescription filled.
Exactly.
And I have patients tell me that. They'll say, they'll bring the prescription back. The prescription a month or two old. I said, well, did you get the medicine the doctor prescribed? No, I didn't get it because I didn't feel comfortable, so I just didn't get it. I said, why wouldn't you call me? I decided I would wait until I get back to the office. Well, that's not good, because that's not why we sent you to the specialist. We sent you to the specialist to see if there's anything they can offer us, and would it make it better with the symptoms that you got. Exactly. Now you back with me, and you haven't done anything the specialist said, and you're not feeling any better. That doesn't make any sense.
No. Yep. I run into people like that all the time. They get home, and like you said before, you all can prescribe the medication. You can give them the advice and the recommendations. But now when they go home, 99% of their outcome is based upon what they choose to do. And so I talk to people all day long that actually have the medications, didn't fill the prescription, or they got the prescription and they're not taking it the way the doctor prescribed it for. And I always tell them, I say, you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're really hindering the ability of your medical doctor to be able to better manage your condition, because you're not being honest with them. They think you're taking the medication. They thinking the medication's not working, and what it is, you're not taking the medication. Right. You need to have a discussion with your doctor, at least to let them know. Then they may be okay with you taking it that way, but they need to know, because they wanted to get the better outcome, the desired outcome, but you're not going to get it taken the way you want to. I said, you're playing doctor, nurse, and patient. That doesn't work. You're working without a license. You're practicing medicine without a license. That's what you do.
And for sure, report side effects, because that's a lot of times why they stop. You'll feel a side effect, the medicine made me nauseous or whatever. Get on the phone and call me. Call your doctor and let them know that the medicine is causing you some problem, and we can adjust it. We can lower the dose, we can discontinue it. It's all kind of things that we can do, but just don't stop it and just go in there and put it in the bathroom, in the cabinet, and just forget about it until your next appointment, which may be 2 or 3 months later, and you've gone that long without the medication. So then capping, the first thing you want to do is just make sure you pick your good primary care doctor you want. Assess yourself. Look at yourself first. It's hard to look at ourselves, but you got to look at yourself and see what goals you want to do. Do I want to lose weight? Do I want to quit smoking? Do I want to eat better? And be sure to write it all down, because you get to the doctor's office, then you forget everything. Then you calling me back going, oh, there are 10 other things I meant to ask you when I was at the office. So always, for your first appointment, take your medications with you.
All of them.
Natural medicines too.
All of
them, because you got two sets of medicines. You got the medicines the doctor prescribed for you, and then you got this big huge bag of natural healing. A lot of those medicines, believe it or not, don't go together.
Yeah.
So I tell the patient to bring both bags with them and bring the questions that you have for me that you want me to address for you.
Yes, that's good. I was going to mention that. What else do they need to do? Some of the other things, like we had mentioned before, if you're checking your blood pressure, take your blood pressure numbers with you, and if you can take your blood pressure monitor so that they can make sure that your numbers are good and your blood pressure cuff is actually accurate. So that's some things that you can do. If you know that you're a person that have some challenges, maybe remembering things, make sure you take someone with you. That can listen and help you out in that area. Make sure you write down your questions in a notebook, like she said, because when you get there, you already know, we already forget. I do it too. Get outside, I meant to ask Dr. Walker, whatever. Well, no, I have my stuff written down. I put in my notes in my phone, and I'm going to ask my questions while I'm there. Because, we all know that they don't get a lot of time to sit there and talk with you. They got other people they need to see, and we understand that. But you can help make that process a little bit easier by having your questions there and trying to kind of stay focused on why you're there, because they don't have a lot of time. So if you are focused on why you're there, what's going on with you, you are your best. Actually, you're the expert on you, right? So you have to give the doctor the information so they can make a good decision, an intelligent decision on how to treat you. So you got to share with them what's going on. So that's what I would say.
Every single time. And then not only that, once we develop and sit down and develop a plan that's good for you. And one thing, let me tell you about your list though, what I don't want you to do, and I have to get a lot of patients on that. Don't do that list that got about 30 or 40 or 50 things on it. Because no doctor can get through that in that visit, and you don't even want them to. You know why? It would involve trying to prescribe all these tests for you to get done and labs and x-ray. I tell people, zoom in on about the biggest 5 things that you want to go over that's worse for you. I have patients sometime on their list say, in and about 40 years ago, Dr. Walker, I bumped my baby toe, and every now and then it hurts. I'm going, can we come up a little further than 40 years ago with that bump toe? You want to get them 5, because there's always 5 big things. And I've seen that my whole career. You the 5 big things and put the number one, make them a priority. What's the number one thing I want to do? I want to lose weight. That's number 1. Number 2, I want to quit smoking. Just list your health desires, and then let's you and I work together to make sure those things are done. Now, we're not saying we're not going to go through that list of whole 40 things. We will, but let's just chisel it down. Like each visit, recap the 5 we've done and maybe take the next 5 or something new. A lot of times, new things will crop up since the last time I saw you. We'll get rid of the new one too. Get that one out the way, then go back to our original list and do like you do in the little grocery store. We'll put a little check mark by each thing that we're doing and how well we're doing. And then the other thing you want to be cognizant of is cost too. Always look at whether you got a copay due, what services they cover. Some insurances cover some things, some don't cover others. That's why you always want to do due diligence. Just don't pick an insurance company. Just pick one that will fit you and your lifestyle and the things that you need. Make that list for the doctor. Bring it. If any copays, anything due, bring those to or make arrangements with the doctor if you don't have it, whatever. Because a lot of times doctors cannot, and will not see you without that copay, because they are really charged to collect that copay by the insurance companies. Yeah, they want to collect those copays, and the biggest is write down your concerns and what will make you a better you and how I can help. And we do it as a team, because like I said, we're a team now. We join together at the hip. It's just not I, big I, little you. It's us together to make you a better person.
Yeah, that's good information. I used to be a prior authorization nurse, and that's very good information, because all insurance companies are not paying for everything. They're not paying for the same thing. And so if they're not meeting your needs, then that's not the one for you. So make sure, and just make sure because even like you need to know what your copay is if you go to urgent care, if you go to the emergency room, if you're at your doctor, what it is for a specialist. Know those things up front, because you can't just jump up to the doctor's office and not have the copay. Make sure that you're in network. Because if you go to a doctor, choose a doctor that's not in the plan's network, then you're going to be charged that higher copay, and you're going to be charged for even the services out of pocket.
Yes.
Out of pocket. And same thing with your medications.
Right,
Certain medications will not be covered. You need to know what's in the
tiers,
formulary.
Right, the tiers of what they really want to prescribe and all, and what they don't want to prescribe. And you've got to go through all that, because let me tell you, sometimes these prescription medicines can get very, very expensive.
Yeah.
And patients can't afford them.
And I hear patients say it all the time. They blame it on the doctor, so I'm just telling you now.
I know you
They
do.
say, my doctor ordered me this medication, and it costs so and so and so and so and so and so. And then they gave me a generic. Well, that's because that's what's in the formulary for that insurance company.
Right.
That you can pay $5 copay.
Right.
And so I think I want the copay of $5 versus $50 or $100. So just because it's generic doesn't mean that it's ineffective.
Right.
So that's another thing we have to kind of get out of that. Well, I can't take a generic. Well, okay.
Have you tried it? And sometimes they tried and then it's fine.
Yeah.
And I said, see, you never even gave it a chance. You know, just automatically assume that it was not going to work, and it did.
Yeah, So we just have to really know the ins and outs. So helping to navigate, and there you go again. Your doctor, your primary care, or some medical professional that have some knowledge. Reach out to somebody if you don't know, instead of just going with the flow.
Right.
Because
just picking somebody out the book. And don't do that. And check your doctor out. See what kind of ratings they have and all. Don't just look and go, oh, I'll go to Dr. Smith because he's a block for the house. And that's not the doctor for you. You always want to pick that doctor, like Veola alluded to first, which is probably most important, one you trust.
Yeah.
Just like you trust in the Lord. How that old gospel vibe, I'm going to stay on the battlefield and I'm going to trust in the Lord all my life. You got to trust your doctor the same way. And if you don't have that element of trust and respect for your doctor, that may not be the doctor that you need.
For you, yes. And do know you do have that choice. I don't care what insurance company you have. No one can pick your doctor for you. You have the choice and you have the right to choose your own doctor.
Absolutely.
And to change the doctor if it's not working for you.
Absolutely.
But like Dr. Walker said, don't be a doctor hopper, because that's not good, because something's going to get missed.
Right, because you hopping from place to place, and each doctor may not have the records or may not have the labs that the last doctor drew. So just try to do your due diligence on the doctor, read about him, and say, I think this may be my doctor. This may not. So try to pick a doctor. You know what I like? I like long-term relationships. Like Veola and I have been together forever. That's why we so natural doing this. And you want a doctor that you're going to be with a long time, to watch you evolve over the years, watch your health care evolve, and hopefully evolve better. Because like I said earlier in one of our little clips on this 4-part series, we got a long time to be here. So we've got to do good.
Yes, working on it for sure. Well, Dr. Walker, I think we better just mention, so when is it time to go to emergency room versus urgent care, or to call your doctor? Well, we need to talk about that too, because in the old days, anytime somebody got a little ache or pain somewhere, first thing they said, well, we going to the emergency room. That was before urgent care's got to be so prevalent in this area. And what I usually tell patients, if it's a life-threatening emergency, you're a patient with a chronic illness, like you got cancer that is spread, heart failure, diabetes out of control, you check your sugar and it's 400, 500, 600, and all these things are really for emergency room. They are life and death decisions. I have a best buddy, she too has gone on to be with the Lord, but she always told me, in emergency room, we want emergencies. We want something that's true emergency. We don't want you to come to emergency room like one lady, this is so funny, she said, told her, you mean to tell me, she was about 300 pounds, her knee was hurt, and she was telling her, I'm sending you back to your primary care doctor because you got a little arthritis in your knee. And so the lady got all indignant and mad with her and said, I can't believe I came to the emergency room for you to tell me I got arthritis in my knee. And she said, she told her, well, ma'am, that's what it is. And that's not really an emergency. That arthritis has been going on for a while. Right. So things that you got a little arthritis in the knee and you still walking around and doing good, that's probably not an emergency room visit. That's probably a call to your primary care doctor. And so we always say life and death for emergency room. Make sure you dial 911, get them in it over there, anything, seizures, falling out. Like I said, thinking suspected
heart attack, when you getting cold and clammy and pain, and sometimes with diabetics, no pain, sometimes pain radiating down your arm. Heart pain can actually radiate through your jaw and all that. That's emergency room. Urgent care, a lot of times we see a lot of urgent care on weekends when doctor's offices are closed, and say you on the ball field and you think you broke your ankle because you was running and that ankle went in a ditch and it flipped and turned on you. Those type things, COVID type symptoms, because we got a lot of bad bugs and stuff coming out now. So you want to see an urgent care doctor. Things that you can live through, that's not so bad. A headache, that you've just had this headache because you got upset with your boss and you want to just get your pressure checked to make sure nothing else is going on. Those things are urgent care. And then primary care level is your regular scheduled doctor's appointments. Things like, I tell patients all the time, they'll call me because most of them have my phone number. They'll call me and say something like, Dr. Walker, I got a little rash that just appeared on my hand. It doesn't itch, it don't hurt. Those are things I can do. So that's where you would just call your primary care doctor. I keep patients coming back for regular appointments because that way I can prevent you from going to emergency rooms and urgent care. So if you see me on a regular basis, you won't have to do all that. But for in between your appointment, little things like a little rash, or I was in the kitchen, I bumped my elbow, it's not swollen, but it still hurts just a little bit. Those are things you and I can do. So just know when to call your primary care doctor. And again, check with your doctor and get their own rules, but those are my rules. Things that you don't think will wait till over the weekend, then that's urgent care. In the emergency room is always things like stroke, which is fast, meaning that face is drooping, the speech is slurred, heart disease, congestive heart failure, all those bad things, cancer that has spread, somebody witnessed you having a seizure, all that is emergency room.
Right, because that would help with our overall healthcare costs. Because if we're going, several reasons, if we're going to the emergency room for things that's not emergency, just think about the people now that really need the services. We're there taking up room and time.
With the right knee pain that's been there for years.
Arthritis or whatever, right? And then also, you got to look at the cost, because a lot of your co-pays is $300, $400, $500 to go to the emergency room.
A lot.
Or it's $50 to go to the urgent care.
And they $20 can do a lot of usually things. To see or nothing to see your primary care doctor.
Exactly. And so about how often would you recommend someone, I know it's based on their medical condition, but some people have not even seen a doctor, about,
anything.
Any averages, once a year, annual, twice a year.
Right. It just depends. It all depends on your condition. If you come in and you get your physical, you top-notch shape, all your labs are normal, and you're trying to do the better lifestyle, I will actually see you back in 6 months to make sure you're still on track. Right. Even though, because I tell patients, even though your labs are good now, cholesterol normal, no diabetes and all that, that can change in the swivel of an eye. So always 6 months to make sure you're still on track. Then I can stretch you out yearly. If you have problems with your cholesterol and you're trying to get it down, or this new thing we got going on called pre-diabetes, then I want to see you a little bit sooner to make sure you made those dietary changes. You're dropping them carbs. I got a quote in my book, my best-selling book, that says, if it tastes good, spit it out. So if you spitting out all the good tasting dressing and pudding, banana pudding, and cakes and pies and all that, then that hemoglobin A1C should be coming under submission, and you're coming out of that state of being pre-diabetic. So it just depends, like she said earlier, on you, and when we do your physical, what kind of shape you're in, and then your primary care doctor will determine how often they want to see you. I'm the kind of doctor, I like to see you all the time, because I like to fuss when you're not doing right, and all, just to get you back on track. So
okay, well, I think we've given them a lot of information.
Oh, yeah, in our 4 sessions.
Yeah, and I think everybody should know that your health matters.
And it's brought to you by our IGBN.
Yeah, IGBN, Gospel Broadcasting Network.
Yeah, they are so gracious.
Yeah, this is who allow us this opportunity in this space.
Yeah,
absolutely. And we definitely appreciate it. And so just spreading the gospel, sending it out is what they do. And we thank them for allowing us to help you with your health issues, challenges, let me put it that way. And just to know that there is a way to navigate through the medical system, and get the job done as well. So, Dr. Walker,
do your research.
Do your research.
Do your research before you pick any doctor, hospital, or whatever. Do your research and not see the person then start complaining. Do your research first.
Yes. Thank you for your time. We'll be back at another time to spend some time with you. Hopefully some of the things that we said, you'll be able to implement them and navigate through the system, get that blood pressure taken care of, heart disease, make those lifestyle changes that it's needed to be
Absolutely.
made. And most of all, take care of you. You get one opportunity, one chance, right?
And remember, that body is the temple of God. So you want him dwelling in a healthy environment. And we'll see you next time.
Yes, thanks again for your time.
Thank you.
You had a choice. Thanks for choosing to watch us.
Mm-hmm.